evening, everyone. Kalla here. Welcome to my live stream. Glad you could make it today. So, it has been a while, but we are back with the irritating boys of variable Barricade. Last time, I do believe we finished our second board, where, unfortunately, I now actually kind of like one of these lads. So now we're on Shion's board. Hello, Drag. Hello, Nick. How are you doing? And let's go see what Nayata thinks of Shion.
ちょっと
Nayata, what? I'm not too bad.
マフィンを飲み込んでからでいいから
Ooh. I hope you can manage to get there without too much stress, Drag. Give your brain a break, and maybe it'll come up with the answer.
すみません。お腹空いちゃってついこのことは一夜さんにはでも減ってたら食べたってバレちゃう。
私がつまんだことにしていいから
そんなひばりさんに罪を着せるようなこと大丈夫です。何か言われたらシオンさんが食べたって言います。
どうしてシオンさん？
だってシオンさん相手なら一夜さんは怒れないですから。
What he means is Shion doesn't care, so it's pointless to get angry at him. On that note,
那由他くんはシオンさんによくこき使われてるようだけど、なんとも思わないの？
別に。というか、あれは俺がシオンさんのお世話をしてるだけなんです。あの人。 一人じゃ生活できなさそうだし。
I mean, I'm also not sure Shion can survive on his own either.
だから言うこと聞いてるの？
なんか変です。
Not just that, but I couldn't bear to argue with Nayata and his little sincere heart.
シオンさんってお世話され慣れてる人だから、こっちも気兼ねせずお世話できて気持ちいいんですよね。それにちゃんと褒めてくれるし。
I see. So, basically, Shion's the shark and Nayata's the remora fish hitching a ride. Now I get it.
だからひばりさんも俺のこともっともっとこき使ってくださいね。ね。
Nayata looked so full of hope. I pulled back from him slightly and responded in a low voice.
機会があれば。
あれ、ひばりさん？お腹が空いたのかな？じゃあこの間のマフィンでも温めて。あ、マフィンがない。
え？これはさっきシオンさんが。
Nayata is so bad at lying.
なゆた？その口についてる食べかすは何だい？
ごめんなさい。
Ichia began his admonishment, and I got out of there as fast as I could. アビー。
アビより俺を可愛がってください。ため息つくと幸せが逃げちゃうんですよ。どうかしたんですか？
いや、姫のご機嫌を損ねてしまってね。どう挽回すべきか悩んでいたんだよ。
ああ、そういえばひばりさん、今朝はすっごくイライラしてましたよね。
リベンジのつもりで書いたケチャップのメッセージが気に入らなかったんだろうか。
What did he write?
なんて書いたんです？
Kiss me, baby.
Really?
はい、アウト。もうわざとやってるとしか思えない完璧な気持ち悪さです。
軽いジョークのつもりだったんだ。見てクスッと笑ってもらえたらと。彼女の機嫌が悪い時に当たるとは間が悪かったな。
機嫌が良かったとしても多分笑えなかったと思いますけど。
I'm sure he can figure out a way to write a message on anything he cooks for breakfast.
なんだい、俺をじっと見つめて。男のナユタにまで見とれられるとは俺も。
もしかして一夜さんと俺って似てるのかな？
いや、それはないだろう。というか、なんだ急に。
だって一夜さんいっぱい叱られてるのに全然やめないじゃないですか。それわざとじゃないんですか？だから俺思ったんですよ。一夜さん叱られたいんだって。俺も嫌いじゃないし。
何を言い出すのかと思えば、いかいないがはっきり否定しておこう。俺は断じて叱られたいとは思っていない。
でも
俺がしていることはあくまでリサーチだ。彼女が素直に喜んでくれるポイントを調査中なのさ。じき笑顔を向けてくれるよ。
でもひばりさんに叱られると一夜さんすっごく落ち込んでから急にやる気全開になるじゃないですか。それでまた叱られて落ち込んで元気出して好きじゃなきゃおかしいですよ。あ、自分で気づいてないだけとか。だってよく思い出してみてくださいよ。ひばりさんに叱られてる時何考えてます？
それは胸が詰まって息ができない。言葉がバラのトゲのように心臓に突き刺さる。睨むような君の視線に痛みさえ感じるとか。
He's so poetic about this too.
ほら、やっぱりそうですよ。俺も思います。ひばりさんに叱られると胸がいっぱいになって心臓がドキドキして、俺を睨みつける目がキラキラして綺麗ってね。一夜さんも一緒ですよ。ひばりさんが叱ってる時の顔綺麗だな、可愛いなって思いますよね。
それは当然だろう。彼女の素直になれない表情は愛らしい。それは一瞬たりとも目が離せぬ。いやいやいや、そんなはずないだろう。
一夜さん、自分を偽るのはおしまいです。さあ、俺と一緒に考えましょう。ひばりさんに叱られるための作戦を。
俺を巻き込むのはやめてくれ。
Are they for real? I let out an exasperated sigh after hearing their completely nonsensical conversation. Alright, what we got? Better off with me. Shion suggests that I keep him instead of keeping pets. His reasoning makes me raise an eyebrow, but... Huh? Is Shion by himself? I could hear the sound of Shion turning magazine pages coming from the living room. It's always so noisy in there that lone sound felt unnerving. Nayata, which pets do we have? Rabby. Does Rabby count? I feel like Rabby should count.
ひばりちゃんだ。宿題はもう終わったの？
ええ、まあ。他の人たちは？
買い出しに出かけたよ。これからここで飲み会をするんだって。
そう。平日の夜に。
Certainly leading into fun employment.
で、あなたは？相変わらず準備には参加しないのね。
欲しいものは頼んだし、僕が言ったところで役に立たないから。
I was so taken aback by Shion's satisfied smile that I couldn't think of a reply.
でも、やっぱり残って正解だったね。せっかくリビングに顔を出したのに、誰もいなかったら寂しいでしょ？
別に。
そうかな。案外君って寂しがり屋じゃない？僕にはそう見えるけど。僕を選んでくれたらずっと寂しい思いはしなくて済むのに。構ってほしい時にはいつでも呼んで。君の気が済むまでずっとそばにいてあげる。
結構です。ペットじゃあるまいし。
I stopped mid-sentence. I have to remember this is who he is. The words kept man came back to me. He never works, but comforts his patrons as they wish. That's Shion Mayuzumi's way of life.
ペット。
あ、今のは。
As I was about to explain myself, Shion cocked his head to the side in confusion. And then, for some reason, his expression grew serious.
何？
参考までに聞きたいんだけど、君ってペットを飼ったことはある？
ないけど。
これから飼う予定は？
今のところは。
I would like a pet someday, though. Maybe a dog or a cat or a hamster. But right now, I've got my hands full with my 4 jobless fellas.
そう。よかった。
I suddenly felt tired thinking about them all, but Shion looked somewhat reassured. What was with that serious look he had?
もしかして動物が苦手とか？
別にペットを可愛がるくらいなら僕を構ってほしいと思っただけだよ。
No, thank you.
動物なんかよりも僕の方が君にいろいろしてあげられるし、僕なら近くにいても君を不快にさせないし。
Would rather have a cat, thank you. I looked at Shion's perfect smile and thought about what he meant. That reminds me. There was that video I watched earlier from Rabby.
ねえ、その猫入れたのなゆた？
はい、近所のおばあちゃんが出かけてる間心配だからって。もふもふ。
僕が動物好きじゃないのは知ってるでしょ。
Shion doesn't like animals. That must be why he asked about pets. But I can't let him know what I watched on Rabby. I guess I'll just have to pretend I don't know. What would be best? Do you have allergies or do you not like pets because you're so similar to them? Like, are you jealous of cats, Shion? Is that the problem? Ooh. Yeah, Shion? Are you jealous of pets? Hey, correct answer.
それは同族嫌悪のような
I spoke without thinking, and Shion raised his eyebrows in a rare display of indignation.
僕は獣臭くないし、爪で引っかいたりもしないし、あちこち毛だらけにもしない。
I strongly suspect you are incorrect on that last note, Shion. You probably do shed hair everywhere.
あんなのと一緒にされるのは。
He went on an emphatic tirade, but finally was able to stop himself.
だから飼うならペットよりも僕の方がおすすめ。
Shion's swiftness in recomposing himself led me to conclude, yeah, he must really hate animals.
とりあえずペットのことは置いておいて。でも私は結婚相手には主体性を持って自立してほしいと思ってるの。
ひばりちゃんは真面目だね。
I can't tell if that's an insult or not. Shion has something the other suitors don't. It's this looseness. Like he's always able to wiggle his way through things.
共働きの夫婦はすれ違いも多いんだって。せっかく一緒になれたのに、それはとても不幸なことだよね。でも、僕とならそんな風にはならないよ。仕事から帰ってきた君を、僕は毎日お出迎えしてあげる。ね、いいと思わない？
全く思いません。
それはまだ君が僕といることの良さに気づいてないだけだよ。
Advantageous for whom, exactly?
みんな帰ってきたみたいだね。
それじゃあ、私はこれで。
一緒に飲まないの？ちゃんと君のためにソフトドリンクも買ってくるようお願いしておいたんだけど。
I'm not entirely sure what having a drink with them would entail, but when I think about the boys, I can imagine.
謹んでお断りします。
Not wanting to get swept up in their commotion, I quickly went back to my room. Rabby, Rabby,
ラビー、ラビー、いらっしゃい。
late night drinks.
今日はうまいもの酒で酒盛りうまい酒で
タイガつまみができたから酒瓶を少し端に寄せてくれ。まったく 急に酒盛りに付き合えなんて、こちらの都合も考えてほしいよ。
はいはい、感謝してるぜーっと。じゃあ早速始めっか。一夜グラスよこせ、注いでやる。
おや、その酒珍しいというか、日本では見かけない銘柄だね。
ああ、エチオピアの酒だからな。地元のやつだけが知る一品だ。
ずいぶん黄色い。見た目はオレンジジュースだな。
こいつは蜂蜜が入ってるからな。そんじゃ乾杯。
乾杯。それにしてもエチオピアの地酒なんてよく手に入れたものだね。
海外のダチが送ってくれたんだよ。懐かしい味を届けてやるなんつってな。まあ飲んでみろって。ば
甘いような苦いような。見た目通りジュース感覚だな。
飲んでるとどんどん癖になるぜ。意外とアルコール強えしな。
これが大河の懐かしの味かい？少しイメージが違うな。
懐かしの味っつうか思い出っつうかな。これを送ってきたやつと初めて会った時にベロベロになるまでガブ飲みしたんだよ。そんで二人ともスリにやられてすってんてん。なんとか日本に帰ってこれたけどな。懐かしいってのは軽いジョークだ。
Certainly an experience.
なんというかいろいろすごい話だが、旅先で偶然出会っただけの人間とよく親交を深められるな。
一緒に酒飲んで話してりゃ勝手にな。男同士のバカ話ばっかだけど、そういう一夜は男友達とで、
なんだいその顔は。
お前男友達いねえもんな。
何を言い出すのかと思えば、俺はね、女性を笑顔にするので手一杯なのさ。悪いが男に構う暇がないんだよ。
ま、そういうことにしといてやるか。
でもまあ、この酒を飲めたのは大河がその彼と友情を深めていたおかげだ。礼を言うよ。
んだよ急に。
俺だってたまには男同士で飲みたい時もあるってことさ。なんだ、見るな、ヘル。
仕方ねえな。友達いねえ一夜のために俺が付き合ってやるか。
うるさい。
照れんなって。
照れてない。
あ、そう。とりあえずまたうまい酒もらったらつまみ作らせてやるよ。
無駄に偉そうなのが気に入らないが、まあ酒に罪はないからね。
ああ、ほらもう一杯。
まだ飲みきってないんだ。勝手に継がないでくれ。まったく。
Those two enjoying a drink together. They seem like such polar opposites. Is this how a bromance is born? I thought about how unexpected it was and tapped the replay button. Free in my own world. At Shion's suggestion, I try my hand at making terrariums, but it's harder than I thought. Terrariums, huh? Lunchtime, after morning classes. I was having lunch with Samugi at the Terrace Cafe as usual.
あれから殿方との同棲生活はいかがですの？ ロマンスに進展はありまして？
Nope, Sumugi. Nope.
共同生活だから同棲なんて言わないで。まあ、これは失礼いたしましたわ。で、どうなんですの？まだ誰とどうこうってレベルじゃないわよ。なんとなくどんな人たちなのかが分かってきたぐらい。それも大きな一歩ですわ。おめでとうございます、ひばり様。でもあの人のことだけはまだよくわからないのよね。あの人というと？天性の紐、眉住シオンよ。眉住さん、あの峰麗しい殿方ですわね。確かに儚げでミステリアスな雰囲気のあるお方だとは思いましたけれど。もう思考から行動まで全てが私の理解を超えてるの。
My wits end, but Tsumugi grinned playfully.
ああいった方ほど何か特殊なご趣味をお持ちなのかもしれませんわ。例えば、そう、実はヤンデレ属性とか。油断してると監禁されてしまいますわよ。
Congratulations, Tsumugi, for coming up with exactly what I'm suspicious about with Shion. Because if any of these lads is going to be a secret yandere, it's probably him.
やめてよ。それとも隠れド S なのでしょうか。裏の顔を知ってしまったが最後、あなたにとんでもない言葉攻めを。
Equally.
言葉攻め？実際はわかりませんけれど、でも物腰の柔らかな方こそ表変するというのは定番。そんな。というのは冗談で。ひばり様はとても勤勉な方ですわ。もちろんわからないものをそのままにしておくことはいたしませんわよね。え？親密度アップからのロマンスイベント発生に超期待ですわ。
Why am I constantly surrounded by weirdos? I stabbed the perfectly fried shrimp on my plate, allowing my anguish to take over for a moment. Later that night, I changed out of my uniform and was making my way to the first floor when... what's up with Naita? Oh, what was that? Did someone upstairs fall? The boys' rooms are upstairs. I hesitated for a split second, then quickly headed toward the noise. Naita crouched in the hallway on the second floor, rubbing his lower back.
大丈夫？すごい音だったけど。
ごめんなさい。つまずいて荷物を落としちゃって。
怪我はしてないのね？
それは全然大丈夫です。でも。
Some items lay strewn about the hallway in front of Naita. They appeared to have fallen out of a cardboard box.
割れたものはなさそうね。早く拾いましょう。手伝うから。
Drop the controller.
そんな悪いですよ。
いいから早く。
はい。
I ignored Naita's reservations and started to pick everything up. Is that dirt in this little bag? There were also miniature ornaments and what looked like seedlings in packets too. There was even a spoon shaped like a shovel.
これ何に使うの？
でしょう。
なんでしょうって自分で買ったんじゃないの？
They just stole best dog. Yeah.
それは僕が注文したものだよ。
It was as if Shion appeared out of thin air. He looked down on us with a smile as we picked everything up.
なゆた、僕の荷物はもう少し丁寧に運んでほしいな。
ごめんなさい。
シオンさん、これ全部あなたが？本当に使うの？
Shion wouldn't even cut roses on his own. I can't imagine he'd get his hands dirty with soil and plants.
気になる？
I didn't quite know how to respond to that. I didn't say anything. Shion took my hand.
うん、少し予定が変わったけど、それはそれでいいか。おいで、ひばりちゃん。
ちょっと。
まあ、なゆた、早くそれ持ってきて。
はーい。
So this is Shion's room. We are in fact being kidnapped. Hopefully Naito is coming with us. So he has a short brown wig. And I guess that looks like some succulents over there. And yeah, some hanging terrariums. I stepped into Shion's room, my curiosity getting the better of me. I can't believe this is Shion's room. It's so clean and relaxing. I'd imagined his room would be like one of those spaces in a magazine, all style and no comfort. But it was actually very soothing, with simple white walls and green accents.
この部屋がそんなに意外？
He tilted his head at me as I stood in the doorway, still taking in the scene.
ちょっと想像と違ってたから、あまり物がないのね。
シンプルな方がのんびりくつろげるでしょ。それに流行ばかり追うのもね。部屋は心を休める場所なのに、模様替えに忙しいなんて本末転倒じゃない。
Yeah, I guess I get that.
お待たせしました。これで全部です。
ありがとう。助かったよ。
はい。で、これから何するんですか？
Nayata practically vibrated with excitement, as if he were a puppy wagging its tail. Shion just smiled and callously pointed at the door.
なゆたの仕事は終わり。お疲れ様。
No, Nayata, don't leave!
そんな、ここからが気になるところなのに。
なゆた。ね。
I do wonder, does Shion's dislike of animals extend to Nayata?
わかりました。
He made him haul everything up here just for that? Like a dog with its tail between its legs, Nayata hung his head and left the room.
別に那由他くんを追い出さなくても。
これからやることは彼にはあまり向かないことだから。デリケートな作業って言ったら理解してもらえるかな。
Okay, that makes sense. Nayata had fully shut the door, so Shion reopened it a little. He then motioned for me to come over to the window.
作業を始める前にこれを見て。
これは？
テラリウムって言うんだ。僕の趣味の一つ。
Shion showed me a palm-sized glass container that was filled with soil, greenery, and tiny little accessories. It was like a miniaturized snippet of a beautiful garden landscape.
もともとは小さな生き物や植物なんかを小瓶の中で飼うことをテラリウムって言ってたんだ。それをアートにしたのがこれ。
そうなの。初めて知ったわ。
Even though it was unfamiliar, I thought the little slice of scenery inside the glass was very pretty.
どれも全部違っていて面白いでしょ。同じ材料を使ってもこれだけいろんな世界を作り出すことができるんだ。
これ全部シオンさんが？
うん。全部僕のお手製。
Wow. And he thought he made the others do everything for him. Something inside me felt satisfied, as if I were a plant that had been watered after a dry spell. I'm sure it was because I saw a side of Shion I hadn't seen before. The little world before my eyes absolutely enchanted me.
ひばりちゃんも作ってみない？
私が？
本当はこっそり作ってプレゼントしようと思ってたんだけど、こっちの方がいい気がして。
でもやったことないし。
僕が教えるよ。そんなに難しいものじゃないからね。
It's not as hard as it looks, he says. It doesn't look particularly difficult to do. Maybe difficult to make look good, but... / difficult to make the plants survive. Shion offered me an empty glass container as he spoke. I wasn't entirely sure, but I accepted it, unable to resist. I'm trying to recreate what I saw, but I'm not sure if that's the right way to do this. Shion only explained the bare minimum to me, then just stood off to the side watching. I was getting a bit anxious since he wasn't saying anything.
ねえ、これで間違ってない？
正解なんてないんだから、思うようにやってみればいいよ。
そうかもしれないけど。
そのテラリウムは、君だけが自由にできる世界なんだ。僕はこうした方がいいなんて言わない。ただ、君のそばにいる。
This feels like making it harder on purpose, right? It seems like he is giving absolutely no information or guidance. And also staring at us while we do it. Which definitely makes things more difficult.
誰がどう思うかなんて気にしないで、今は君だけの世界に集中して。
Your private world.
君はそこに何を思い描く？僕にも教えて。形にして、見せて。
With his gentle prompting, I plucked a small pale flower out of the supplies with my tweezers. When I placed it beside the cactus, the barren scene blossomed with colour. Beautiful. I've always been skilled with my hands, so it wasn't difficult to put the terrarium together. But when I placed plants and accents in the exact spots I wanted, A little thrill ran through me. I became more focused, and before I knew it, I was completely engrossed in the terrarium. Maybe I'm putting in too many.
お花がたくさんあってかわいいね。
Shion's whisper seeped through my deep concentration. Encouraged by his words, I adorned my little world with colour. I was just starting to grasp an idea of the whole picture.
新しい世界を作るのはどんな気分？
I respond to Shion's question with, "It's fun or it's difficult." I mean, it's probably fun, but I don't want to give him ideas. Difficult. Let's go with that. Yeah. I have a wall.
難しいわ。
I was going to reply with the kind of polite response I'd give to one of my teachers, since Shion really wanted me to try this, but I decided to be honest instead.
自由にしていいって言われたから迷っちゃった？
He hit the nail on the head. I nodded slightly.
そんな風に言われたの初めてで、なんとなくでやったら失敗しそうで、そう思うと難しくて。
I muttered and lowered my gaze, but Shion looked at me with a gentle smile.
大丈夫。失敗したと思ったらやり直せばいい。うまくいかなかったらなんて心配しなくていいから。
でも
笑ったりしないからね。君の世界を僕に見せて。
I returned my attention to the terrarium, despite feeling uneasy under Shion's gaze. What should I do now? I tried to recall the feeling of getting absorbed in my crafting. I started to feel better bit by bit, so I stuck with that mindset and got back to work.
そう。その調子だよ。焦らずゆっくりと。ね。
Finally, my terrarium was complete.
いいと思うよ。初めてにしては上手にできたんじゃないかな。
ありがとう。
That was actually very satisfying, and I think I did pretty well. But it still felt awkward showing my honest feelings to other people. I didn't want to reveal too much of my emotional hand, as it were, so I started cleaning up.
あ、そのサボテンたちはこっちにもらうね。
I placed the cacti pups in an empty jar so that the spines wouldn't prick him, and then handed it over.
そういえばこの部屋のテラリウムにはサボテンが多いのね。好きなの？
サボテンは他の植物とは違うんだよ。話せばちゃんと答えてくれるし、心だって通わせることができる。
Doesn't like animals, but does like talking to cacti.
サボテンと会話？
うん。彼らは動けないけど会話はできるよ。むしろ動かないのがいいよね。
でもサボテンに感情は
あるよ。あるんだよ。
I figured he wasn't your average guy, but I did not expect him to say that cacti have feelings. just let it go for now. I probably wouldn't understand anyway.
でもトゲは気にならないの？刺さったら痛いと思うけど。
僕は彼らを信頼しているし、彼らも僕のことを分かってくれてるから、怪我の心配をしたことはないかな。実際に今まで一度も彼らが僕を傷つけたことなんてないよ。サボテンは僕の心を癒してくれる、なくてはならない存在なんだ。
そう。
I gave up trying to understand and responded as vaguely as possible.
癒しは人それぞれだから。それが僕の場合はたまたまサボテンだったというだけ。
Shion stopped cleaning and looked directly at me.
君にとっての癒しって何？
I'm not really into surprise questions. But I'm also not into leaving them unanswered.
私の癒しは一人になれる時間。この家に来てから気が休まったことは一度もないし。
I replied sarcastically.
本当にそう？
本当よ。
じゃあ僕たちが現れる前は一人で過ごしていて穏やかで自由な気持ちになれた
My mind wandered back to the days when I lived on the main estate. Meals prepared by top chefs, servants for every need, connections to the highest of high society. A comfortable life in the lap of luxury. That perception isn't wrong, and I'd never deny my privilege. But in reality, I had comfort, but no real freedom. I stood there, unable to speak. Then Shion looked into my eyes with a tender expression.
僕はね、君の心を解放してあげたいんだ。そのために僕が君の癒しになるよ。
癒し？
そう、癒し。
Maybe it was because I had concentrated so hard on the terrarium, but Shion's voice washed over me and lulled me into a relaxed trance.
ねえ、ひばりちゃん。
え？
今度一緒に出かけよう。
ええ。
I snapped back to my senses after I said that.
え？出かける？
うん、よかった。OK してくれて。
いや、
約束だからね。ああ、楽しみだな。初めてのデートだね。
Oh no, I didn't mean to say that. But Shion smiled cheerfully, but I felt utterly confused. Anyway, Rabbi. Ooh, Rabbi and Wiz. Okay. Rabbi first.
機能とかねえのかよ。
あ、ちょうどよかった。執事君、お茶を入れてほしいんだけど。
構いませんが、眉住様、どうかなさいましたか？
それ、何？
いただき物です。申し訳ありませんが、こちらはお茶受けにはできません。何しろ、 ひばり様の好物ですので。
Ooh.
ひばりちゃんの和柄のペラペラの紙に包まれてる珍しいパッケージだね。
ええ、眉住様のような方にはあまり馴染みのないものでしょうね。
それ中身は何？
先ほど申し上げた通り、ひばり様の好物です。
中身は何かって聞いてるんだけど。
Why does it matter to you what's in there, Shion? You're not getting any of it.
申し訳ありません。あまり言わないようにと口止めされているので。
別にいいけど本人に聞くから。
教えてくださると良いですね。
ねえ、やっぱり自分で当てるからヒントをくれない？
構いませんが、眉住様では難しいと思いますよ。
チャレンジするのは自由でしょ。それは甘い？
まあ、甘いといえば甘いですね。他にも違う味は入っていますが。
Sweet and also other things.
他にもしょっぱいとかってこと？
ええ、しょっぱいです。
甘くてしょっぱい。
Sweet and salty and Japanese, right? Is it Mitarashi Dango?
思い当たるものはありますか？まあ、あったとしてもおそらく違っているでしょうが。
執事くん、僕のこと嫌い？
ノーコメントで。
No comment.
そうだ、食感はどんな感じ？
まだ続けるんですか。まあ、柔らかいですね。
冷やして食べるもの？
そうやって召し上がる方もいらっしゃいますね。
そう。ありがと
もうよろしいのですか？
う。うん。なんとなく分かったから、僕も用意してみる。
分かったとは到底思えないのですが。さて、何が来るのでしょうね。
Sweet and salty, my favorite food. So that's why he brought me regular old dango and prosciutto wrapped melon. So dango was in there! Yes! I was correct. Prosciutto wrapped melon, huh? I would try that. Or is that what, sorry, is that what Shion brought? It does sound interesting, though.
水の確認しなくちゃ。
Take good care of the terrarium you made today, okay? Keep it out of direct light, and don't water it too much either. If you've any questions, just ask. I'll teach you. Thanks. I think I'd like to look it up myself, though. How very like you. I'm envious of that little terrarium. Oh, it's only natural to do that much. I love that about you. It's too soon for you to say stuff like that. Oh, I mean it. Good night. Oh, don't put it in your bedroom. I'll get jealous. I won't. Good night. Ah, Shion. A splendid evening. Shion comes to get me after school and we take a leisurely stroll. He really has unique values. Kasuga isn't here. He always waits for me outside the car. As I approached the car, the rear door popped open, and someone stepped out.
お疲れ様、ひばりちゃん。待ってたよ。
シオンさん、どうしてここに？
だってこの前約束したでしょ？一緒に出かけようねって。
He remembered.
休日のデートも魅力的なんだけど、でもそれだと邪魔が入っちゃうでしょ？君も僕だけに集中しづらいだろうし。だったら学校帰りに連れ出しちゃえばいいかなって思ったんだ。
春日は？
執事君の許可はちゃんと取ったよ。君と約束してることを伝えたらすぐに OK してくれた。
約束なんて
したよね。
してません。あれはノーカウント。
したよね。
I recognized there was no way out of this and I couldn't stall any longer. So I got into the car. Ooh, Ferris wheel. I thought we would go someplace farther away, but he brought me to a park near the sea, not far from school.
潮風が気持ちいいね。もっとあっちの方へ行ってみよう。
Shion was in a good mood and he led me by the hand. He'd tried to hold my hand multiple times before, but I'd always resisted. But this time I found myself not wanting to be evasive.
ここ、きっと夜に来ても綺麗だろうね。
そうかもしれないわね。
どうしたの？
別に。
I wanted to sound normal, but my tone came out grumpy. Maybe Shion's used to dating, but this is my first time. I've never been on a date or held hands with a boy. Even so, I had to get it together. It wouldn't be fair to him if I kept thinking like this. I don't think we need to worry about being fair to him, Shion. Not Shion. Hibari, even. Shion stopped walking, probably because he noticed how nervous I was.
学校からもそう遠くないみたいだし、放課後遊びに来るのにちょうどいい場所だね。
寄り道は推奨されてないから。たまに紬に誘われてカフェに立ち寄ることはあるけど。
そっか。それじゃあ放課後にあんまり出歩いたことはないんだね。
外に出ることは多いわよ。むしろ他のクラスメートよりも多いんじゃないかしら。
へえ。どんなところに行くの？
お茶にお花の稽古でしょ。図書館へも行ったりするし、あとは東条家次期当主としてのお役目ね。おじい様について出かけることも多いわ。 今は他のお役目があるから、そちらの仕事はお休みにさせてもらっているのだけど。
I was, naturally, referring to the suitors. They've given me more trouble than any responsibility I've ever had.
まさかここまでとはね。
What does that mean?
そういうあなたは普段何してるの？
本や雑誌を読んだり、テラリウムを作ったり、お昼寝したりしてるよ。あ、今は君のためにネイルチップを作ってる。
Really classy for an unemployed guy.
その生活をずっと？
他の人のところにいたときはどうしてたかって話？
He's getting right to the point.
今とそんなに大きくは変わらないけど、必要とされたときに相手が望むものを叶えてあげていたかな。
望むもの？
一緒に出かけたり、ご飯を食べたり、趣味に付き合ったり。
Definitely classy.
虚しくならない？
どうして？楽しかったし、充実してたよ。
Fulfilled. I wonder if that word means the same thing to him as it does to me. As I thought about his shocking statement, Shion gently rubbed his arm with his free hand.
日も落ちてきたし、帰ろうか。
Now that I thought about it, it was getting chilly. But we hadn't done anything special yet. We hadn't even gone to a place that Shion seemed to like.
これで満足なの？
うん。君とゆっくり話すこともできたし、とても贅沢な時間だったよ。
For real? We left the park and headed toward the car.
シオン？
Both Shion and I turned when we heard his name. There was a man waving at us a short distance away. Even from a distance, I didn't think he was Japanese because of his hair color.
シオンさんの知り合い？
まあ、そんなところかな。ひばりちゃんは先に車に乗ってて。
でも。
Shion went toward the man before I could hold him back. What could they be talking about? I figured it would be rude to eavesdrop, so I reluctantly went to the car, despite my concern. I did glance back at them, though, and it seemed Shion kept shaking his head to whatever the man was saying. Okay, now I'm worried. I wondered if I should go help him. Something could be wrong. Just as I started to make a decision... I couldn't believe my eyes. Everything happened so fast. All I could do was stare open-mouthed in disbelief. The man shoved Shion into a foreign car parked next to him. Then the car sped off in a flash. Hold on. Oh my gosh, was he...
誘拐。
abducted? A thought sent my mind spinning and I fell to the ground. Well, wasn't expecting Shion to get kidnapped. We didn't get a Rabby out of that. Do I need to move Rabby? Let's put Rabby in the kitchen. Kidnapped? Shion was whisked away by that unknown man and still hasn't come home. I worry, but then he... It's been 3 hours.
ねえ、どうして犯人から何の連絡もないの？
お嬢、少し落ち着けって。まだ事件だと決まったわけじゃねえんだろ。そんなに心配しなくても、あいつなら大丈夫だって。
どこにそんな保証があるの
Ichiya and Nayata trembled under my threatening glare. We've had to run away from home, overworked, and now kidnapped, right? It feels like every single one of these first Barricade boards is something happens, and we get worried about them.
詳しくは春日が調べてくれてるんだろ。結果が出るまでおとなしく待ってろって。
そうだけど。
I'd immediately contacted Kasuga after witnessing Shion's abduction. Once I told him what happened, he instructed me to come back here, and now I'm just waiting.
何かしてないと落ち着かねえってことなら、もう一回情報を整理してみたらどうだ。
それは明暗かもしれないな。見直しているうちに新たな発見が得られるかもしれない。まず相手はシオンの名前を呼んでいたんだよね。なら誘拐犯はシオンの知り合いである可能性が高いな。
何が目的かは知らねえが、顔見知りの連中がそんなリスクの高い犯罪をわざわざやろうと思うかね。
でもシオンさんは車に押し込まれてるように見えたわ。あれが誘拐じゃないとしたら一体何なの？
I stared at Ichiya and Tiger, but they were at a loss for words. But then a calm, rational voice came from the most unexpected person, which I assume must be Nayata.
もう少し状況を詳しく教えてください。シオンさんと話していた相手というのはどんな背格好でしたか？
え？
車に押し込まれていたというのはどんな風に？その時シオンさんは抵抗していたんですか？
ナユタ、なんだかいつもと雰囲気が違うね。
He's right. Nayata's not flustered at all. He's strangely calm and composed. I guess even Nayata understands the gravity of the situation.
俺はいつも通りですよ。で、ひばりさん、思い出せますか？
相手は背の高い金髪の男性で仕立てのいいスーツを着ていたわ。
So, like, I'm going with this is either one of Shion's past patrons or, like, his older brother or something.
シオンさんはずっと困った顔をしてたけど、助けを求めるような感じはしなかった。うん、そんな余裕もなかったと思う。
なるほど。
男性がシオンさんを車に押し込むとき、彼はシオンさんの背中を押していたの。片手で手を引きながら。
それ、本当に誘拐か？ただ単に車へ丁重に招き入れられただけなんじゃ。
でもシオンさんが望んでいたとは限らないもの。というかあなたたちもっと心配したらどう？
もちろん俺も心が痛いのは君と同じさ。でもウィスに返事があったことを考えるとね。
しかものんきに顔文字ついてたしな。
I sent Shion a message on Wiz a bit ago just in case. To my surprise, he responded. It read, Here, don't worry. What a short response.
それだって私たちを油断させる作戦かもしれないじゃない。もしかしたら今
シオン様、ようやく捕まえたぞ。
やめて、うちに返して。
ダメ、そう簡単には返さないよ。しかし近くで見ると本当に綺麗だな。お人形さんみたいだ。
やだ、そんな目で見ないで。
あと足りないのは笑顔かな。ほら、笑うんだ。
楽しいこともないのに笑えないよ。
なら私のとっておきのネタを見せよう。これならシオン様でも笑ってしまうに違いない。
ひばりちゃん、助けて。
シオンさんは綺麗な人だからとてつもない精神的苦痛を味わわされてるかもしれない。
Quite the imagination there, Barry. Isn't she on a bit young in this imagination? Well, he can barely do things for himself, Drag.
いや、さすがにそれはねえだろ。あいつならどっちかっつうと。
シオン様、ようやく捕まえたぞ。
Tiger's imagination.
ああ、捕まっちゃった。あ、そこの君。僕、喉が渇いちゃったんだけど。
紅茶でいいですか？
この銘柄は好みじゃないんだよね。
ならこっちで。
まあいっか。あれ、お茶菓子は？
ちょっとお待ちを。
紅茶が冷めちゃうから早くお願い。
あ、今俺誘拐でものすごくしっくりきちゃいました。
だろ
今頃楽しんでいるかもね。
いつの間にか誘拐犯のボスより偉くなってたりしてな。
おかしいな。
Right, the chains if he's being treated like a prince. Ah, good question.
白状者たち、なんでこの状況でヘラヘラしてられるのよ。仮にも一緒に暮らしてる花婿候補じゃない。
いやー、だってなあ。
シオンのパトロンの冗談という可能性も捨てきれないからね。
Enough of this. I stood up angrily and stomped toward the door, making my indignation known.
おい、どこ行くんだよ。
私一人で探しに行きます。
ひばりさん、それはちょっと待ってください。
待つ？すでに手遅れかもしれないのに。
マジで落ち着けって。お前らドア押さえろ。
わかりました。
The two of them circled around me and blocked the living room door.
どいって。
Tiger's deep voice reverberated from behind me. The other two stood in front of me, leaning against the door. They both shook their heads in silence. So that's how it's going to be. I'll just have to take them all out. I never thought I'd have to use self-defense like this. I knew this was no way for the Tojo family heir to behave. But here goes. I raised my fist with all my might. And then... Thunk. The door suddenly swung open, hitting Nayata and Ichia on the back of the head. They both fell to the ground.
申し訳ありません。ドアの前にいると。ひばり様？
Kasuga stared at my raised fist with utter confusion after opening the door. I slowly lowered my hand.
どうしたの？
眉住様をお迎えに行ってまいります。
迎えって解放されたの？
解放かは存じませんが、お嬢様にもじきメッセージが届く頃かと。
は？
I was stunned by what Kasuga said. Then my phone started to vibrate. I'm coming back now. Hope you're waiting.
では、行ってまいります。
I just stood there amazed and speechless while my phone lit up with a message from Shion. The perfect payback. Shion promises to do whatever I ask if I'll forgive him. I pick him up on that. The following morning,
ひばり様、もう10時です。さすがにそろそろ起きてこられませんと。
放っておいて。
そういうわけには参りません。皆様も心配なさっておいでですよ。
I woke up at my usual time, but stayed under the covers. I didn't even get up for breakfast.
夕食には必ずいらしてくださいね。
Once it seemed like Kasuga had left, I flopped back down on my pillows. Everyone worried about me, and where was this concern yesterday? Just as I began to shake with uncontrollable anger, I got a notification on my phone. Who is it now? I'm sure you're getting hungry, right? I've made some tasty treats just for you. Is he trying to lure me out with food? Closed the Wiz app and buried my head in my pillows. Again? Are you serious? Or how about a relaxing drive? Just let me know when you want to go. I'm waiting to hear from you. Jogging really clears the mind. Maybe you should go. Today's a really nice day, so maybe we could go together? Come on out already. My mood worsened with each of their attempts to gauge my mood. Now what? If you don't want to go jogging, I'm open to freeze tag and shadow tag. Cops and robbers is also fun. Now they're just tag teaming it. Yeah, it is. It is sweet that they are trying. Unfortunately, they have not realized that they are making her day worse by doing so. If you don't come out of there soon, you'll start growing mold. Can't you come up with something better than that? I have a great idea for a driving date. First, we'll have lunch at a pristine cafe with snow-white decor. Then I'll take you to the art museum and some neat hole-in-the-wall places I know. And ideally, I'd like to go to the aquarium or an amusement park as the sun sets. Those places can be incredibly romantic in the evening. Wouldn't that be the perfect place for us to go? For our last stop, it goes without saying that we'll toast at a restaurant with a view. It's like he's writing a novel. Seriously, out of all the potential grooms in the world, why are these ones chosen? And now it feels like my mood is completely subject to one of them. Everyone was so worried about him, but what is up with that nonchalant attitude of his? The reason I'm holed up in my room in the first place is because of what happened last night. "30 minutes after Kasuga left to get him, Shion came back, acting like nothing had happened."
ただいま。遅くなってごめんね。
シオンさん、怪我は？
Seeing Shion smile and nod made me feel relieved for a moment.
今までどこで何してたの？
簡単に説明するなら、軽く拉致監禁されてたかな。
So he's not denying he got kidnapped then.
それじゃあ彼女の言っていた誘拐という推測は正しかったのか。
犯人は誰だったんですか？
以前僕を大事にしてくれていた友人の一人だよ。
And it was one of his old patrons.
なんだ、やっぱりお前のパトロンだったんじゃねえか。
お互い合意のもとで離れたっていうのに、たまたま僕を見かけたから追いかけてきたんだって。
で、よりを戻せと迫られてたと。
まあそんな感じ。僕たちの関係は恋愛とは違うものだから表現が難しいところだけど。
でもいきなり拉致するなんて。シオンさん、怖い思いをしましたよね。大丈夫ですか？
大丈夫。僕慣れっこだから。
Concerning sentence, Shion. A concerning sentence.
慣れっこって、まさか過去にも何度かさらわれた経験があるの？
僕の友人たちはちょっと強引な人が多くて困っちゃうよね。
He's seriously acting like this is normal.
でも今の僕にはひばりちゃんがいるから君の前であんなことしちゃダメだよね。だから少しだけお説教してちゃんと分かってもらったよ。
お説教？一体どんな内容なのかな。
知らねえけど、絶対受けたくねえことだけは確かだな。
シオンさんの笑顔、怖い。
まあそんなわけだからひばりちゃん、こういうことがまた起きても僕のことは心配しなくて大丈夫だから。
何よそれ。
今の僕は君のものだよ。だから君を優先するのは当たり前でしょ。
Not the part of this I'm having a problem with, Shion.
どこに連れ出されたってちゃんと君のもとへ帰ってくる。それは絶対ね。安心でしょ。
そういうことじゃないの。私が言いたいのは、もういい。
The moment I met him, he's continually shown that he depends on others to live. In fact, he enjoys that kind of lifestyle. I can't believe he lives his life however his partners want. It's more like being their pet.
今の僕は君のものだよ。だから君を優先するのは当たり前でしょ。
All he wants is for me to be his next owner.
そんなの冗談じゃない。
There was an unexpected knock at the door. Is that Kasuga again? He must have gotten tired of waiting. Perhaps he's angry with me. Maybe we should talk after all. I was really not in the mood for a lecture, but I felt like I had no choice but to open the door.
あ、よかった。出てきてくれて。
Shion, you're breaking the rules. What are you doing on this floor? You're not allowed to be up here. Get out of here.
シオンさん、このフロアは立ち入り禁止のはず。
羊くんが通してくれたよ。その代わり、君を必ず連れ出すことが条件だったんだけどね。
Kasuga did this for my sake, huh?
体調が悪いから。
I tried to close the door.
待って。
Shion thrust his hand into the doorway without hesitation. I could have closed the door on his fingers. He didn't normally behave like that, so it caught me by surprise a bit.
ごめんね、ひばりちゃん。
それは何に対する謝罪？
今までのこと、全部。
No, Shion, I'm going to require you to be a bit more specific about what you're apologizing for, because otherwise I don't believe that you're actually sorry about it.
タイガたちから聞いたんだ。君、僕のことをすごく心配してくれていたんだね。なのに、慣れてるからなんて、無神経だった。ごめん。
For once, Shion was being serious. I stayed quiet and listened to what he had to say.
それでね、僕は君にお詫びをしたいと思ってるんだ。何でも君の言うことを聞くよ。それで僕の犯した罪を償わせてほしいんだ。
何でもって？
何でもは何でも。僕にさせたいこととか、付き合ってほしいこととか。
That got me thinking. Well, now that he's given me the option, it wouldn't be so bad to see him sweat a bit. He can be such a careless fool sometimes. I want to get him back, just a little.
本当に何でもするのね。
I assume that by the title of this chapter we're going to like take him to a cat cafe or something. An idea came to me at just that moment, and I whispered it into Shion's ear. Shion looked surprised, then immediately nodded with a smile.
もちろん、喜んで。
I smiled when I saw Shion's expression. It was like my bad mood had completely evaporated. Just you wait, Shion. I got ready and left with Shion to go around town.
まさか君の方から僕をデートに誘ってくれるなんてね。それで、僕と行きたい場所ってどこ？ブティック？インテリアショップ？それとも…
ここよ。
As we arrived at our destination, I let out the smile that I had been desperately trying to hold back. Shion's face turned pale.
ここ？
さあ、入りましょう。
嘘だよね。嘘って言ってよ。そんな…ちょっと待って。
Yep, we did not tell him we did not give him any warning.
うわ
Suffer, Shion.
なんでこんなにたくさん猫が。
Seeing Shion turn an even whiter shade of pale put the biggest smile on my face.
ここが猫カフェだから。
Yeah, they are cute cats, right?
僕と行きたい場所って本当にここで合ってる？
ええ、
positive.
そうわあ、ちょっと君くっつきすぎじゃないかな。そんなところから登ってきちゃダメ。ああ、腕もダメだから。そこの君もあんまりペロペロしないって。みんなどうして僕にばかり寄ってくるの？好かれるのは人間だけで十分だよ。やめて。
Got him. Shion was usually quite composed, but people cats terrified him to his core. I was absolutely delighted to have orchestrated such a rare spectacle.
ひまりちゃん、ペットに興味はなかったんじゃないの？
ペットを飼うのは遠慮してるだけ。動物は大好き。
大好きって、君からその言葉を聞き出せたのは嬉しいけど、でもこの状況は全然ハッピーじゃない。
そんなに懐かれているんだから、もっと可愛がって。
ひばりちゃんがまだ怒ってるのはものすごくよく分かったよ。僕も本当に反省してる。だからお願い、どうか助けて。
Look at those eyes. He's pleading so much. Shion's desperate cries amused me more than I thought they would. Maybe I have a bit of a sadistic side. As he asks for help, I... More cats, more cats, more cats.
ほら猫ちゃんたち、こっちへ来て遊びましょう。
ひばりちゃん、猫がどんどんこっちに集まってくるよ。
この猫じゃらしが気に入ったのね。
なるほど、そうなんだね。じゃあその悪魔の棒を早く遠くへやって。
どうして？せっかく来たんだから、もっと猫たちと遊んでいきましょう。
ちょっと教えてほしいんだけど、君、猫じゃなくて僕で遊んでない？
Can't it be both?
まさか。
ごめん、ひばりちゃん。ここ以外でなら何だってするから、もう僕を許して。
But you already said you'd do anything, and I used that to bring you here. Maybe you shouldn't say I'll do anything if you don't actually mean it. Yes, that's enough for now.
わかったわ。そろそろ解放してあげる。
ありがとう。
Does that mean we can take it to another cat cafe? No, no, no. Dog cafe this time. It's not a cat cafe. I moved all the cat toys far away from Shion. That should have done the trick, but...
ねえ、この子たち、どうして離れてくれないの？
Ooh, Owl Cafe too, yeah. I mean, I'm making an assumption that a dog cafe is also a thing. Owl Cafe, definitely a thing. Capybara Cafe, I think also a thing. Hedgehog Cafe, I think also a thing.
おもちゃよりもシオンさんが気に入ったみたいね。
そんな。じゃあ僕は一生このまま。
Ooh, take him to the zoo. No, take him to a petting zoo. I'm pretty sure that that would be a lot of fun. Just get him into the pen with the goats and see what happens.
ダメだよ。僕はひばりちゃんのものなんだから。
crowd of cats grew as Shion's cries became more anguished.
ああ、もうダメ。
Afterward, the cafe clerk helped me get the cats off Shion. He trembled with teary eyes until they were all off. I would say poor Shion, but I think he deserved that. I'm gonna go get myself some more water. I will be right back. And I'm back. Shion was still wallowing in self-pity even after we left the cat cafe.
体中が獣臭い。毛もいっぱいついてるし。早く帰ってシャワー浴びたい。
It'll take some time before Shion gets back to his usual self. I didn't think it'd be that bad for him. I mean, I was upset with him, but I might have gone too far. But it allowed me to see a surprising side to Shion, so I'd call it a win.
ひばりちゃん、なんだか楽しそうだね。そんなに僕が困ってる姿が面白かったんだ。
I smirked at Shion, who looked slightly resentful.
何でもするって言ったのはシオンさんでしょ。
それはもちろん忘れてないけど。
でもこれでよくわかったでしょ。
え？
軽々しく何でもするなんて言うからこういうことになるのよ。
Yeah, exactly what I said. Don't say I'll do anything if there are things you are that you're going to have a problem with.
もっと嫌なことをされたらどうするつもりだったの？
なるほど。確かにそうだね。
Shion smiled happily despite getting lectured by a woman younger than him.
何笑ってるの？
散々な目にはあったけど、ひばりちゃんが楽しそうだったし、思ったよりも君に愛されてるってことが分かったから、結果的に良かったかなって。
Where are you getting that from, Shion? Barricade battle!
君の心もっと僕に見せて。
調子くぐっちゃう。
君の心の壁
勝手にやってれば。
えいえい
めでよ。
えいえい周りなんか見なくていいのに。
調子に乗りすぎよ。
Yeah, apparently that's the defensive wall above.
僕はちゃんと感じてるよ。君の愛。
It doesn't matter if I deny it, Shion will keep saying it with confidence. But I think it's natural to not want people to make assumptions about what you're feeling.
ねえ、何でも聞くっていう約束はまだ有効よね。
え？
実はもう一軒行きたいカフェがあるの。
Another cafe!
え？
大丈夫よ。モフモフしてるのはほんの一部だけだから。さあ、行きましょう。
Minimal fluffiness.
モフモフ？一部？ねえ、それって。
I smiled sweetly at Shion as he radiated fear.
次はフクロウカフェ。
It is the Owl Cafe! Congratulations on guessing the correct cafe next. Can we take Shion to Rabbit House? Ooh, yeah! At least the owls aren't likely to actually land on you, I don't think. I don't think you touch the owls at an owl cafe, right? I dragged Shion through the streets in the fashionable part of town. He hasn't finished making it up to me yet. When Shion and I returned home from our outing, there was a big commotion in front of the house.
おい、なえた、それめちゃくちゃ高い壺らしいから絶対に落とすなよ。
わかりました。けどこれでかすぎて全然前が見えない。
それにしても随分な大荷物だな。
ああ、もう届いたんだ。
ああ、シオンさん、ひばりさん、おかえりなさい。
シオン、この荷物全部お前のか。
厳密にはここに届いた時点で全てひばりちゃんのものかな。
それってどういう？
僕を誘拐した友人からのお詫びの品。誠意を見せてってお願いしたんだ。
I had a feeling that's what that was. This is goodwill. A mountain of expensive-looking art overran the entrance to the house.
これ最近ニューヨークで話題になり始めてるアーティストの作品だよ。彼こういうところはセンスあるんだ。
So your friend is an art dealer then? Who cares about taste? I stared daggers at him and put it bluntly.
返してきなさい。
せっかく送ってもらったものなのに。
I swear this boy... It took a ton of help from everyone to send the veritable treasure trove back. Meanwhile, Shion just calmly watched everyone work. In the end, my opinion of Shion didn't change much. It was just another day. Ooh, Wiz message.
送り主は、あ、 彼ね。
I enjoyed today's dates, but I'd really prefer if you only doted over me. So don't ever say you want a pet, please? Do you just like them that much? Pets are cute. They're cute enough in photos and TV shows, yes, but maybe if you get used to them. I'd rather not. We have Nayata already, we don't need any other pet. Ah, so he does think of Nayata the same way. The same way as other pets. Nayata is a person. I saw him eating dog food earlier. You're kidding! He bought it by mistake, apparently. He said it was surprisingly tasty. You're kidding. So, let's make do with Nayata as the family dog, okay? That's a good girl. I understand that you don't want pets, but at least acknowledge Nayata as a person and entitled to his human rights. Please? But Nayata's a good dog, though. A heart unknown. Shion learns just how worried I was for him while he was gone. It's a bit of a surprise for her, to him.
Oh, yeah.
It was moments after she'd stormed out of the living room. Oh, sorry, no, we're in Shion mode. It was moments after she stormed out of the living room. Tiger looked back at me as if the silence were unbearable for him.
追いかけなくていいのかよ。
今追いかけても何も聞いてくれそうにないよね。
そうかもしれないけれど。
でも、どうしてあんなに怒ったのかな。やきもち？
それは違うんじゃないかな。
どうして？
心配してたところにお前がヘラヘラーっと帰ってきたからどうしていいかわかんねえんだろう。素直じゃねえっつうか不器用っつうか。
ひばりさん、すごく心配してたんですよ、シオンさんのこと。
自分で探しに行くと言ってここを飛び出そうとしたぐらいだしね。
Really? What Ichia said was a bit surprising. But I've had my share of people in love with me, so I can understand that. Now, she doesn't love me yet. But she's the type of person to act like she loves someone even though she doesn't. I wonder what she looked like while I was gone. I wonder what she sounded like when she said she was going to look for me. Thinking about it made me want to have a conversation with her face to face.
明日きちんと謝ることにするよ。
ああ、そうしろ。で、お嬢の機嫌を早く直してやってくれ。
I smiled at Tiger in reply.
では、私はこの辺で。
Jeeves calmly excused himself. I'm sure he was going to check on her. I figured it was best to leave that task to him for now, so I stayed silent.
ところで、シオン、気になってたことがあるんだが。
何？
お前を拉致った元パトロンってのはどこのドイツなんだ？
ああ、それはね。
え？すっごい有名人じゃないですか。 CM とかテレビにもいっぱい出てる。シオンさん、すごい人と友達なんですね。
悪い人じゃないんだけどね。ほんと毎回愛が重くて。 目の前に僕を座らせてずっと眺めてくるものだから暇になっちゃって。紅茶とかお菓子とかいろいろ持ってきてもらったよ。
Sounds like Tiger's imagination was more accurate here.
おい、俺たちのつもりさ。
かなり当たってたみたいですね。
なんというか恐れ入るよシオン。
そうかな。僕はただ普通に生きてるだけだよ。
Yes, this is me. Deep down, the guy who took me just wanted to care for me. So I gave him what he wanted. That's all it was. I wonder what she'll want from me.
さて、疲れたからお風呂に入ってくるね。
I sauntered to the bathroom, leaving everyone else in a state of disbelief. Shion, what the hell is your life? Alright, back to the common board. We have two options. We have What is Love? I secretly go to meet with Kazu again. His advice is always exactly what I need. Or Tsumugi's plan for the future. When I ask Tsumugi about her fiancé, she starts talking about her life philosophy. Let's go see Tsumugi first. I opened the classroom door in the morning as usual, but today the students were oddly noisy. Running away?
無理やり婚約させられたって嘆いていたみたいですけれど、噂によると捜索願いも出しているとか。
A student had been forced into an engagement by her parents. Last night, she rebelled and ran away from home and hasn't been heard from since. In homeroom, our teacher strongly urged all her students to tell her if we knew anything about the girl's whereabouts. To be honest, this story wasn't uncommon. St. Agnes attracted high-profile young ladies. There was no shortage of stories about girls running away or taking off with someone they loved. Their families decided when they should marry and to whom. Whenever I heard stories like that, it reaffirmed that this was my role as the daughter of a prominent family. It wasn't anything special, it was the same for all the other girls at this school. But for me right now, thinking about my life with the boys in the vacation home brought up some complex feelings.
見てくださいな、ひばり様。窓の外は本当にいいお天気。まさにロケーション日和ですわ。これだけ日差しがあれば、レフ板もいい働きを。ひばり様、元気がないようですけれど、どうかなさいまして？ちょっと家出した子のことを考えてて。ああ、あのことですの。
The tone in Tsumugi's voice turned ice cold.
ご両親のやり方が悪かったのかもしれませんが、本人の覚悟のなさが露見してますわね。そう？だってそうでしょ。たかだか家出ごときで抵抗なんて生ぬるい。結局はすぐに見つけ出されて両家の問題になるだけ。時間の無駄ですわ。
I was speechless after hearing her ruthless evaluation. Tsumugi was always so composed and objective in the way she looked at things. I knew that, but hearing her respond so harshly made me realize just how differently we felt about the situation. That reminds me, Tsumugi also has a fiancé that her parents chose for her, doesn't she? I wonder if she has any thoughts about that.
さ、そんなことは置いといて、冷める前にランチをいただきましょう。あ、そういえばこの間の衣装が。
As I listened to Tsumugi talk about her hobbies, I couldn't help but notice my pent-up emotions. After school that day, I couldn't shake off my mixed feelings about everything, so I invited Tsumugi to take a walk with me. I just told her I wanted to talk, but Tsumugi smiled at me as we strolled along, like she knew what it was about.
少し風が強いですけれど、天気も良くて気持ちいいですわね。
We walked to the park, but I couldn't find the right words. I didn't know how to broach the topic, so Tsumugi smiled gently as if to say there was nothing for it.
ひばり様、家出少女のことでお悩みですか？家出の子というか、紬にも婚約者がいるでしょ？自分じゃなくて親が決めた。悩んでいるのはそちらでしたの。確かに詳しくお話ししたことはありませんでしたわね。
She smiled kindly at me and began to speak in a reminiscent tone.
私が正式に婚約したのは15歳の時ですわ。
Tsumugi's father was the headmaster of an Ikebana school, and her fiancé was her father's apprentice. He was apparently a whole generation older than her. His family was not so bad, and he was regarded as one of the most promising students.
15歳で一回りも上の人とよく決断できたわね。正直15歳の私にとって30近い彼は随分と大人に見えましたわ。いい意味でも悪い意味でも。
That is a significant age gap.
ですが婚約自体はずっと前から決まっていましたのよ。ただ私が義務教育を終えるのを待っていただけ。15歳になって正式に婚約しましたの。嫌じゃなかったの？
I couldn't help but be blunt after hearing her speak so matter-of-factly about it. Tsumugi just smiled brightly like she always did.
嫌かどうかを聞かれれば特別抵抗はありませんでしたけれど、何よりも重要だったのは私の中での優先順位でしたから。優先順位？家業を継ぐことに抵抗はありませんでした。華道も好きですし、伝統を守り家を盛り立てていくのも好きですもの。それに自分で言うのもなんですけれど、才能の面でも詳細の面でも家元に向いている自負がありますわ。
Yeah, actually, she's totally right.
幼い頃から家業は好きでしたわ。ですから小学校高学年の頃には家業を継ぐことを決意していました。けれど私にはもう一つ大切なものがありました。それがこの趣味。
Her hobbies. In other words, her otaku stuff. I was surprised that she knew exactly what she wanted in elementary school. I must have looked it too, because Tsumugi giggled at me.
家業もオタク活動も大事。どちらかを捨てるなんて私は絶対に嫌でした。両方を取るためにはどうするべきか考えに考え抜いた結果、婚約しかないと思いました。どうして？
As I racked my brains, Samuki halfway closed her eyes, as if she was remembering the past.
まず趣味を堪能するためには上京すべきだと思いましたのですが、私も華道の家元の霊障、一人暮らしはおろか上京なんて許されるはずもありませんでしたわ。
でも実際今は一人暮らしでしょ。
両親を説得するためにいろいろと考えましたの。そして家を継ぐプランを提示しました。
プラン？
私の希望は中学から高校までの6年間東京で過ごすこと。もしそれを許してくれるのならば。
Samuki's plan could be summarized as follows. If Samuki's parents accepted the plan, then she must adhere to the following rules. Oops. No. Oh, no, I missed one there. 1. She would take care of the family business during the long summer and winter breaks. Of course, she would also prioritize it at any other time. She would never miss her flower arranging lessons, even while living on her own. 3. She would marry whoever her parents decided, and she could not refuse. 4. After graduating from high school, she would return to Kyoto and put her family first. Then she would go to a university close enough to commute.
もちろんプランを提示したところで最初からうまくはいきませんでしたわ。それでも私は食らいつき、説得に説得を重ねてなんとか希望を聞いてもらいましたの。
She's got way too much enthusiasm.
そこから婚約者が決まるのはあっという間でしたわ。両親も相手に目をつけてましたから。お相手の方とは小さい頃から面識もありましたし、家元の婿になれるということで彼も不満はないようです。あの時の選択のおかげで今は好きなことを存分にできますし、将来は好きな仕事ができる。
Samuki has really planned her entire life out, huh?
私は満足していますのよ。
すごい。
Samuki was so impressive in elementary school. How could such a young girl make a life plan like that? She even convinced her parents to agree, too.
紬の婚約者ってどんな人？優しい？
ええ、とっても。まあ、私が家元の娘だからというのも大きいでしょうけれど、小さなことにはこだわらないタイプですわ。でも、オタクと言っていいほど華道が好きで、その手のことになると表変しますわね。
Two peas in a pod.
昔から兄のように接していたので一緒にいて気が楽ですし、容姿は可もなく不可もなく、まあ着物が似合うところは高ポイントですわね。
Samuki brought up one detail after another about her fiancé. I then tentatively broached the next question.
紬はその人のこと好き？
I stared at her intently and she gave me an easy smile.
好きという言葉を出されると少し困りますわね。どちらかというと彼とはパートナーのような関係です。
パートナー？
ええ、私と彼との間にはある約束が結ばれているんです。婚約の際、私が条件を提示しました。
The conditions were just as strict as the ones that allowed her to come to Tokyo. 1. He would marry into the family and support Samuki as she became the next headmaster. 2. He would spare no effort in helping the family business flourish. 3. He could have extramarital affairs, but he must not have children outside of marriage. 4. He would not deny Samuki her otaku hobbies.
それさえ守っていれば、彼は家元の婿という立場を手に入れ、大好きな華道に没頭できる。お互いにメリットのあるお話でしょ。
Yeah, it kind of does sound like a mutually beneficial arrangement, girl.
彼は私の話を真剣に聞き、すべて了承してくれました。
じゃあ本当に。
ええ、今のところは燃え上がるような恋ではなく、相互利益のための関係ですわね。でも胸キュンは二次元で十分ですし、彼も今頃は京都で適当に遊んでますわ。
Tsumugi spoke with a bright smile. Her tone of voice said that his business was his own. Puzzled by her smile, I quietly asked her another question.
それでいいの？一生を一緒に過ごす相手なのに、紬は本当にそれでいいの
？I strained to get the words out, and she looked at me with the kindest smile.
それが私にとっての幸せですから。
Happy.
恋愛や結婚だけが全ての人の幸せではありません。私の場合は自分が望むように生きられることが幸せなんです。ですから彼が結婚相手であることに不満も後悔もありません。
Tsumugi looked very mature when she said that. She figured out what she wanted to do from a very young age and acted on it. She made all of her decisions of her own volition, and she's been able to achieve happiness.
紬はすごいのね。私はいつも迷ってばかり。決断してもそれが正しかったのかずっと考えてる。
When I met the suitors, I was prepared to marry whoever was chosen for me. At least, that's what I thought. When faced with the reality of it, I couldn't help but try to escape my fate.
ひばり様、あなたにとって人生の幸せは何ですの？
To me, that was clear from the beginning. I was the Tojo family heir. That's why I had to marry the right person, follow in my family's footsteps, and then... And then what? I thought I had it all figured out and had been living my life accordingly. I was instantly shocked and disappointed with myself for not being able to respond. Tsumugi smiled at me awkwardly.
急に答えられるものではありませんわね。私たちの年齢では迷うのも悩むのも当たり前のことですわ。
でも紬は小学生の時に人生設計してるじゃない。
私の場合はその時がタイミングだっただけですわ。あなたが今悩んでいるのは悩むべき時が今だから。今まで考えてこなかったのなら今から考えていきましょう。
今から？
ええ、誰が好みかだけでなく誰を選べばひばり様が幸せになれるのかを。
東条家の次期当主にふさわしいかじゃなくて。
それだけが目的ならおじい様も彼らを花婿候補に選ばないと思いますが。
Yeah, they're completely unsuited to that, aren't they?
それはひばり様にも分かってきているでしょ。
Yeah, that's all true, but I didn't want to admit it.
大丈夫ですわ。あなたならきっと最良の道が選べます。でももし悩んだ時には私を頼ってくださいな。
紬、ありがとう。紬が友達でよかった。
こちらこそ。というわけで、ま まずは目先のロマンスをつかみましょう。大きな幸せはロマンスのかけらから。
なんで今までの雰囲気は？
私が思うにひばり様はもう少し乙女さを。
ちょっとつむぎ。
You automatically sighed when Tsumugi started rambling about romance like she always did. Looks like she'll never change. However, listening to her today gave me a lot to think about. There were many things I needed to consider and decide on my own. But despite all that, whenever I feel lost, I know I had a friend I could rely on. For now, I let myself bask in that happiness. Ah, Tsumugi! Rabbi! Ooh, Rabbi and words.
お役立ち機能とかねえのかよ。
さて、今日もひばりさんのために愛が詰まった甘いスイーツを。って春日くん、キッチンで一体何を？
これは水森様。今ひばり様のおやつをご用意しているところです。
ひばりさんの？でもそれは俺が作る約束じゃ。
ええ。ですがひばり様がどうしても食べたいとダダをこねるお菓子がありまして。
それを作ってくれと？俺ではなく君に？
小さい頃に作って差し上げたお菓子なので私に頼むのが早いと思ったのでしょう。あれが恋しいお願いとおっしゃるものですから。
恋しいお願い毎日彼女の笑顔のために最高のスイーツを作ってきたつもりだったのに、それでもまだ超えられないお菓子が。いや違う、今の俺はそのお菓子を超えようともしていない。挑戦する前から諦めてどうする。俺はそのお菓子を超えてみせる。
Why, Chia?
どうぞお好きに。ただし思い出の味は格別です。それをお忘れなく。
はっ、分かっているさ。だからこそ新しい思い出を。
お菓子ですか？
ナイフタ、今俺が話を。
お菓子って言いましたよね。どこにあるんですか？俺も食べていいんですか？
お菓子はまだない。これはひばりさんのための俺と春日くんの戦いで。
わかりました。じゃあ俺待てしてます。ここで応援してますよ。
いやだから、
これ以上言っても無駄でしょう。八神様、余計なことは絶対にしないでくださいね。
はーい。
では始めましょう。
一夜さん、その砕いてるのは板チョコですか？
そうだよ。これを電子レンジで温めてトロトロに溶かしたら滑らかになるまでじっくりかき混ぜる。
Something with melted chocolate.
クリーミーさが足りない。いや、しつこくなりすぎるのも。
Chocolate ganache of some kind?
いいなぁ。俺も味見したいな。いいなぁ。いいなぁ。いいなぁ。
It's like having a real dog stare at you while you're making food.
わかったよ。ただし役に立つ感想を言うこと。
やった！
どうかな。
おいしい。甘さもちょうどいいし。
よし、じゃあこの調子で進めよ
応援してます。春日さんはお鍋で何してるんですか？
Stop talking with your mouth full, Mayata.
これはあんこを作っているんですよ。熱が取れればというか、八神様、口の周りがチョコだらけですが。
一夜さんに味見させてもらいました。春日さんも何かないですか？
ではこのあんこを少々。舌触りにこだわった一品ですよ。
やったー、俺あんこも好き。
いかがですか？
公園のおばあちゃんが作ってくれるのとちょっと違う。甘じょっぱさが足りない。
甘じょっぱさ。
おばあちゃんが作ってくれるのにはちょっとだけ醤油が入ってるんです。だから甘じょっぱくて美味しい。
なるほど、醤油ですか。参考にさせていただきます、八神様。もち米も炊き上がりましたね。これはいいものができますよ。
Okay, yeah, this is Daifuku, I think. I'm going with strawberry Daifuku on this side.
お役に立ててよかったです。
Or I mean, it could just be red bean mochi.
思いのほか力が入ってしまいましたね。
う。俺だって負けていないさ。ところで春日くん、ひばりさんのご要望とやらは。
Yeah, Ichio, why were you trying to make this a contest when you knew Kasuga was making a thing specifically asked for? When you've definitely made something completely different.
そんなに縮こまらなくても教えて差し上げますよ。こしあんのおはぎです。
Ooh. What is that? Google, Google. Oh. Interesting. In a way, it's sort of the opposite of a mochi. It's got rice on the inside and anko on the outside. Interesting.
おはぎ。なるほど。確かにそういうものもたまにはありなのかもしれない。だが俺のスイーツも自信作だ。チョコレートをたっぷりかけたカップケーキ。
Death by chocolate cupcakes.
カップケーキ自体は至ってシンプル。けれどチョコレートソースには様々なフルーツがふんだんに。
そうですか。
笑っていられるのも今のうちさ。
これは失礼いたしました。では私はあんこでもち米を包みますので、じきひばり様が帰ってきます。
ああ、本当だね。俺もラストスパートだ。チョコをもう一度チェック。
お腹いっぱい。お二人ともごちそうさまでした。
え？
Wait, did he just eat all of it while they weren't paying attention?
ごちそうさまでしたってまさか
あんこが空っぽに。
俺のチョコソースも
ナユタ、味見していいって言ったじゃないですか。
Rule 1, never take your eyes off the food. Nayuta, they told you you could have some, not all of it.
完食は味見じゃない。
八神様、余計なことはしないようにと言ったはずですが。
そんな。
They were goners once they let Nayuta into the kitchen. But still, I really wanted that red bean. Bing bong! It's time for Dr. Samugi's patient aftercare session. Excuse me? Aftercare for what? You looked like you had quite a lot on your mind today. I worried you might still be lying awake with a full heavy mind. Not really? Oh, did I get it wrong? Oh, unfortunate. Meanie. I am me. Others are others. I love you dearly, Hibari, but I can't become you. And the same goes for you. You can't become me. I know that. But I feel a little rushed. I know, you're an earnest person, and that probably doesn't help. Sometimes I wish I'd been born clever instead of being born earnest. More like you, Samugi. What? Really? That would be so dull. I'd never want to be my own best friend. Samugi and another Samugi. That's terrifying. Yes, yes it is. Besides, you have many wonderful points that are unique to you. Do those really exist? What? Oh my goodness. Is this what I think it is? Are you asking me to expound on the long, long list of your most wonderful points? I could go on about that all night and into tomorrow. I'm sorry, Samugi. Forget I said anything. Come on, you don't have to be shy. No, really don't. But I think I can go to sleep now. Thanks. The screenshot really wants too much. Huh? I think I'm going to be the one who can't sleep. Samugi, what are you saying? You're too godly. Samugi, go to bed. We should both sleep. Good night, then. Pleasant dreams. Already can't wait for tomorrow. Good night. And I really am going to sleep. You sleep too, Samugi. Ah, Samugi. And then... let's go see Kazu again. Speaking of friends. Friday evening. The perfect time for relaxation and entertainment. Or at least it should have been.
ひばりさん、明日のデートは水族館とプラネタリウムどちらが気分かな？他にご要望があればプランを組んで。
一夜のことは放っておいて、明日は僕とエステサロンに行こう。全身コーディネートしてあげるから。
そんないつでも行けるとこつまんねえだろ。明日は俺が面白いとこ連れてってやる。
明日は俺がテニス誘おうと思ったのに。
君たち便乗はやめてくれないか。最初に俺が。
便乗じゃないですよ。俺だって何日も前から言おう言おうって思ってました。
おい一夜、まさか早い者勝ちとか思ってんのか。ガキじゃあるまいし
ね。うるさい人たちは放っておいて。明日連れて行きたいお店なんだけど。
行きません。相手が誰であろうと二人きりなんて拒否します。
Tired of the nonsense and endless tug of war. My foot was down, planted even. There. This time I told them what I think. I smiled to myself as the four of them grew quiet. I wasn't going to let the four of them walk all over me forever.
じゃ、全員で行くか。
は？
二人じゃなきゃいいんだろ。
はあ？
少し残念だが、ひばりさんがそう言うなら仕方ない。甘い時間は来週のお楽しみだね。
せっかくだからつむぎちゃんも誘う？彼女好みのお店に連れて行ってあげる。
それいいですね。6人ならダブルスの試合もできるし。
All of them were formulating their own plans, and yet somehow all of them were in agreement. For a moment, I couldn't help but regard their driven efforts in silence, but I snapped back to myself.
つむぎは明日予定があるのよ。だから明日は私も無理。
つむぎが無理だからって。
Tiger was just starting to complain when my phone vibrated. A whiz message from Kazu. Reflexively, I raised my finger to open the app, but then I stopped myself. All four of them were lounging nearby. It was a constant struggle to protect my tiny bubble of personal space. Given the men's lack of tact, they'd almost certainly try to peek at my phone. I stood up from the sofa and stared down at them, making a forceful declaration.
とにかく2人だろうが3人だろうが4人だろうが明日は無理。
And with that, I dropped the conversation and left the living room. I hope that didn't sound too desperate or awkward. I felt a mild twinge of unease, but quickly brushed it off as I pulled out my phone. Sorry this is so sudden. If you have the time, would you care to join me at the same cafe at 2 tomorrow? I wanted to talk to him. I needed to tell him about my latest bout of frustration. My fingers moved quickly, zipping across the screen. I'd be glad to. Message sent. I instantly felt a weight lift off me. Sighing, I clutched my phone to my chest.
ひばり様。
I froze. Kasuga came up to me, a suspicious look fixed on his face.
何かございましたか？
何も？
I was too scared to look him in the eye. What if he found out? What if he learned our secret? Just the thought made me shudder. I can't let him find out.
思い出し笑いよ。気にしないで。それじゃ。
I didn't even look at Kasuga. I simply walked up the is here twice for some reason. I simply walked up the stairs to my room as quickly as I could. I need some sort of plan. I closed the door to my room and leaned back on it as I tried to think. I wanted to talk to Kazu. I wanted to vent all my frustrations to him. But to do that, I needed an excuse to leave this house without arousing any suspicion. At the moment, I could think of only two methods. One was to simply walk out without saying a word. I suspected that idea would not work, however. If I did leave without saying anything, it was highly likely that Kasuga would stick to me. He'd be like a new shadow, a very disapproving one. It would be even worse if the others got in on the act. My other method was to construct some kind of alibi. I could say I was visiting with another friend and have them cover for me if anyone asked. That idea was decidedly less risky. I just wasn't sure whom I could collaborate with on my alibi. I'd already told everyone in no uncertain terms that Samuki had plans tomorrow. Well, that kind of only leaves you with one person, Hibari. Which means... I took a deep breath, then opened Wiz. I'd like your advice. Please respond when you have the time. The message sent, I exhaled and let myself slide down to the floor in a slump. Who knew keeping a big secret could sap so much energy? I prepared to vent a deep sigh. That was when... A Wiz text? No, it's a call. The name on the caller ID was Noah Arimura.
もしもし、有村さん？何？相談って。
Straight to the point. That was very like her.
相談というか、お願いなんだけど。
スパッと言って。外にいるから長話できない。
どうしても会いたい人がいるんだけど、それを言ったら邪魔が入りそうで。明日一緒に出かけることにしてくれない？
男？
Caught by surprise, I could only gape into the phone. Arimura spoke up and I heard the smirk in her voice.
あんたも意外とやるじゃん。そりゃあの人たちも邪魔するわ。いいよ。アリバイ工作手伝ってあげる。
Yeah, this was in fact exactly the correct person to use as an alibi. I knew she'd be up for that.
ついでにうまい言い訳も考えてあげる。一回で覚えてよ。
じゃあ、ラビのメンテナンスに行ってくるから。
He's going for maintenance. I put on my shoes in the foyer, then turned to look at the others while hugging Rabbi to my chest.
それ、ノアの家じゃなきゃダメなのかよ。ここに呼べばいいだろう。
今日は細かくチェックするから、有村さんの家じゃなきゃダメなの。
I spoke firmly, making it clear my course was set. Hayata deflated and pouted a little.
本当に行っちゃうんですね。
安心してナイタ。ちゃんと僕がついていくから。
No, you won't.
ああ、俺も行く予定だよ。
絶対やめて。
まあ、迷子にはなるなよ。よそ見もすんじゃねえぞ。
余計なお世話。
Rimura was scheduled to pick me up today, first and foremost. It took effort, but I reined in my anger. Keeping my voice deliberately neutral, I said,
とにかく、あなたたちの相手をしてる暇ないの。有村さんのお家にご招待いただいたんだから、絶対行かなきゃ。
大切なお友達だもんな、二人目の。
そうよ。だから何？
I glared, and suddenly all four of them found more interesting things to look at on the walls and ceiling. Shutting them up takes so much energy. I was already exhausted. Fortunately, my phone pinged just then, announcing Arimura's arrival.
それじゃあ、行くから。
I made a deliberate choice to not tell them not to follow after me. Knowing them, they would probably ignore my request if they didn't just outright say they didn't believe me. Arimura stood at the door of her taxi, a mischievous grin on her face.
うまくいったわ。ありがとう、有村さんのおかげよ。昨日考えてくれた言い訳も。黙って。
Arimura cut me off, glancing behind me.
有村様、本日はひばり様がお邪魔させていただきます。こちらつまらないものですが。
Kasuga? Kasuga offered his respects with a pleasant smile, holding a large gift bag.
そういうのいらないって言ったじゃない。
Embarrassed, I protested, but my complaint fell on deaf ears.
お邪魔するのですから、これくらいは。どうぞよろしくお願いいたします。
大事なお嬢さんを預からせていただきます。帰りもちゃんと送り届けますんで。
They'll bring me back too? Arimura caught my eye, her expression warning me to go along with what she was saying.
そうなの。だから心配しないで。行ってきます。
行ってらっしゃいませ。
I got into the taxi and it slowly pulled out. Watching Kasuga grow smaller and smaller through the window, I breathed a sigh of relief. The taxi pulled up in front of the cafe and I got out. I peered back through the window at Arimura. Ruby sat on her lap, its ears flapping up and down in pleasure.
いい子にしててね、ラビー。有村さん、本当にありがとう。
買い物のついでだし。で、男？
いや、だからそれは。
Arimura studied me dispassionately while I tripped over my own tongue.
ま、バレないようにうまくやんなよ。あと、相手がマジで男なら油断しないように気をつけて。
Kazu doesn't seem like the kind of person who would try anything funny, though. I should be fine.
人は見かけによらないよ。あんたも見かけによらず危なっかしいし。
Arimura knew about mischief. I couldn't refute her. I nodded and quietly accepted her advice.
約束の時間になったら来るから。じゃ。
I watched the taxi drive off and then ducked into the cafe. I discreetly looked across the room, but I didn't see Kazu anywhere. The server showed me to a table. I sat and quietly looked around the room again. I hadn't noticed before, but even the minor decorations here are in excellent taste. Why, that little statue there is very...
Kawaii.
I turned to look and saw Kazu standing there, a bright smile on his face.
驚かせちゃった？
いえ、私こそ気づかなくて。
ああいうの好きなの？
Kazu asked me that as he sat. I thought for a moment and then nodded. I know they don't suit me at all, though.
ひばりさんらしいよね。まあ、もうオーダーはした？
Kazu thinks they suit you, though. Cute things? Very me? No one had ever told me that before. Thinking about it, it was probably the first time I'd ever admitted to someone that I liked cute things.
ひばりさん？
Kazu's curious gaze snapped me back to reality.
まだオーダーはこれからです。
どれにしようか。気合を入れてこれとか。
すごいですね。お待たせしました。いちごとブルーベリーのパンケーキとフォンダンショコラ風パンケーキ、バニラと抹茶のアイスのせ、ホイップクリーム添えでございます。
Oh, that sounds so good! The pancakes were like miniature chocolate lava cakes, each one boosting the other's height. Altogether, they formed a stack that looked like a chiseled mountain. Far from intimidated by the pile, Kazu grabbed his fork and stabbed the hill with gusto. A bit of his enthusiasm rubbed off on me. I took up my fork and cut out a generous bite. How much fancy food are we getting this stream? Yes. A fluffy, chewy pancake, the sweet tartness of fresh strawberries and blueberries, the light, sweet and airy whipped cream. After just one bite, I could feel my heart healing.
テンション上がるね。
I didn't know I said that out loud. I froze in embarrassment.
すみません。
どうして謝るの？いいと思うよ。そういうの。自然にしてるのが一番。
Kazu smiled. I couldn't bring myself to say anything. Around him, it was so difficult to focus on holding up appearances. My inner self always seemed to escape. That means you're comfortable around the dude, Barry.
それで、例の彼らとは最近どう？
My hands stopped cutting another bite of pancake.
最悪です。
聞かせてくれる？
キザで暑苦しい人は
スパダリ君だね。
I nodded. After messaging each other on Wiz a few times, we settled on nicknames for my four suitors that we used just between ourselves. Ooh, nicknames. Mr. Try-Hard Bachelor, Mr. I'm So Cool, Mr. Flake, and the Puppy. Yep. Yeah, sounds about right. I thought they were rather apt names, personally.
スパダリさんはわざわざ学校まで迎えに来たりするんです。人目もあるのに校門で待ち伏せして。
He had no idea how the attention mortified me.
迎え自体が嫌じゃないなら条件をつけてみたな。人がいない場所になら来てもいいとかね。
That was an idea. If I told him not to come at all, I could see him only getting more stubborn about it.
俺様くんの様子は？
あの人のデリカシーのなさは4人の中でもズバ抜けてます。毎日気に障ることを。
Like telling me I'm childish, or that I've gained weight, or that my chest is too flat. Kazu saw my hands ball into fists and he smiled wryly.
年頃の女の子にはいろいろあるよね。僕だったらそんなとこ気にするって笑っちゃうかもしれないけど。
He's giving some solid advice, Kazu is. Oh, I got it. Tanya acted like he was making digs at things he knew bothered me, when in fact, they were the things that bothered him. If I just laughed him off the next time he tried, that might take the wind out of his sails.
ゆるふわさんは話が通じません。どんなに話をしても意味がないっていうか。
I couldn't find the words to describe what he was like. He was just a difficult person to read.
話が通じないのは困るかもね。自分の気持ちが伝わらないのって辛いし。 逆に話をしないっていうのってかな。
Just don't talk to Shion. Okay.
話をしない？
行動で示すって感じで。話が通じないなら徹底的に話をしない。話が合わない相手ってどうしてもいるからね。
I guess he has problems of his own too. That thought made me feel a little better.
中堅くんの話も聞かせて。彼面白いから。
彼の暴走も相変わらずです。数百メートル先から私を見つけて駆け寄ってきたと思えば、その後は必要なものはないか、してほしいことはないかって質問攻めです。
頼み事ができるまで静かに待ってってお願いしてみたら？子犬の待てみたいに。
Try puppy training. Why do I think it'll work? Kazu's advice was so perfect, it was impressive. At the same time, it only highlighted just how pathetic those four were.
カズさんと同じ成人男性のはずなのに。
What in the world was causing the difference?
僕はあくまでも第三者だからね。だから話も落ち着いて聞ける。そんなものじゃないかな。
I would never hear anything that humble from any of them. Not if I lived for another century. I sighed heavily as depression descended on me. Kazu noticed, chuckled, and spoke up.
でも話を聞いてる僕からすると、ひばりさんは自分で言うよりも彼らに親しみを持っている気がするよ。前に彼らに恋愛感情はないって言ってたよね。あれは今も同じ？
Kazu's question was gentle, but I still couldn't help but look away. Did I like them or hate them? I think I didn't hate them. At least I could say I didn't dislike them as much as I did directly after our first meeting. Then, could I have feelings for them as boyfriends? I'd thought about that so many times, over and over, and the answer was always the same.
わかりません。
それは恋愛対象として好きなのか、それとも友人として好きなのかで悩んでいる。
正直に言うと、その段階まで行ってない気がします。
じゃあ、彼らを恋愛対象として見られるか考えているけど、その答えが出てこないとか。
Well, yes. I paused for a moment, fighting down a wave of bashfulness. I gathered my courage and said,
私、恋愛経験がないんです。
Kazu simply nodded, quietly encouraging me to continue.
だから恋愛自体が理解できなくて、恋が始まったら自分でわかるものかどうかもわからなくて、友人に相談してもやっぱりダメで、逆に彼らはどれくらい本気なのかって聞かれて何も答えられなくて。
アプローチは受けてるんだよね。
そのアプローチも本心なのかわからないんです。出会って間もないし、特に彼らに好かれる努力もしてないし。
No, I hadn't given them many reasons at all. I couldn't believe that they actually liked me much. I saw no reason why they would. After all, when I was with them, I was often mad or frustrated to tears. All those emotions I'd thought were safely buried in the bottom of my heart welled up before I could stop them. Who could ever fall in love with someone as unstable as me? I fell silent, my thoughts swirling in my head. Kazu watched me, a gentle smile crossing his face.
自分が人に好かれるはずない。そんな風に考えて。
swallowed. Did he have telepathy or something? It was as if he'd read my mind.
僕からすれば彼らが君を好きになっても何の不思議もないけどね。
どうして？
I looked at him in honest curiosity. He grimaced.
ひばりさんは十分魅力的だよ。真面目だし、可愛いし、素直だし、何よりとびきりの美人だしね。
Kazu's gently teasing compliments made the heat rise to my cheeks. I puffed my cheeks out in a pout, trying to hide the blush. Kazu laughed.
ごめん、ちょっといじめちゃったね。でも、ひばりさんが魅力的だって思ってるのは本当。それに、人を好きになるのは理屈じゃない。彼らが自然と君を好きになっても、おかしいことは何もないと思う。
Falling for someone effortlessly, or having someone fall for you just because. Were such things possible?
じゃあ、一つ質問してみようか。もし彼らが本気で君を好きだったとしたら、嬉しい。
What if they told me they loved me and meant it? No ulterior motives. No strings attached. They just love me for who I am.
愛しているひばりさん。それしか言葉が出ないんだ。その気持ちしか俺にはないから。
マジで好きだ。俺と付き合い。
本当に好き。どうしようもないくらい。君のものにしてくれる？
大好きです、ひばりさん。本当に本当に大好きなんです。この気持ちは誰にも負けません。
Face flushed hot in an instant and I felt dizzy. No. I was so embarrassed I couldn't help but groan out loud.
彼らに好かれるの、そんなに嫌？
嫌とかじゃなくて、何か自分が変になりそうというか、平常心を保てなくなるというか。
My cheeks burned even hotter, and I looked down.
彼らを恋愛対象として認識できない理由が分かった気がするよ。きっとひばりさんはまだ彼らのことを信用しきれていない。だから慎重に彼らを見極めようとして恋愛感情にストッパーをかけているのかもしれないね。
Now that he mentioned it, that rang true. None of them were terrible people by any stretch. But I couldn't say they didn't have ulterior motives. And on the off chance I did marry one of them, there was no guarantee they could adequately perform their duties. Trusting them would be difficult.
もしそうだとしたら、本当に信用できるまでは無理に動かない方がいいかもしれない。確かに話を聞く限り、彼らは悪い人間ではないと思う。でも僕は彼らに会ったことがない。話の中ではいい人間のように思えても、実際はそうじゃないことはたくさんある。だから君自身が信頼できるようになるまではね。
I nodded emphatically.
はい、その通りにしようと思います。
それがいいんじゃないかな。
Kazu smiled, then glanced down at his watch.
もうこんな時間だ。お友達が迎えに来るね。
Kazu started to stand. I straightened my posture and bowed formally in my seat.
今日は、いえ、いつもありがとうございます。
役に立ててるならよかった。僕でよければいつでも話を聞くし、どこにでも会いに行くから。
どうしてそこまで。
Apparently, my question caught Kazu by surprise. He grimaced and scratched at his cheek.
警戒させちゃってる。
違うんです。あまりに親切なので、素朴な疑問というか。
My hurried attempt to explain myself caused Kazu to chuckle.
冗談だよ。なんていうか、危なっかしい妹を見てるような気分でね。単純に放っておけないだけ。
Welcome back, Nick. We've been having a good vent session with Kazu. Vent and advice session.
そんなに危なっかしいですか？
目が離せないくらいにね。だから遠慮せずに相談して。
Kazu smiled and tilted his head. I wouldn't be surprised if under those sunglasses he just winked at me. I mean, I can see that in the sprite. I paused a moment, wondering why I thought that. Then the answer came to me.
今の仕草、スパダリさんにそっくりです。
Yeah, why am I getting suspicious of you again?
それはちょっと複雑かな。
I've sort of been staring at his eyes through the sunglasses this time and going, are those the same colour though?
すみません。
冗談だって。さあ、行こう。
Both of us smiled wryly at each other. Then we gathered our things and left the cafe. He promised to message me via Wiz again too. Harimura was punctual, showing up exactly on time. The drive home started with her teasing me mercilessly, asking me how my date went. And then she admitted she was surprised at how refreshed I looked. I wanted to tell her all about Kazu, but I made an effort to hold back. We'd promised each other that it would stay secret.
Hi, ラビ。軽くメンテしといた。
ありがとう。うちに寄って。
ごめん、帰る。じゃあ。
Arimura quickly raised her hand in a wave. The taxi took that as a signal and drove away. She is as standoffish as always. What would it be like to sit and have tea together with Arimura? Or go shopping together? Would we ever grow close enough as friends for that? I sighed and reached out to open the front door. I just touched the knob when...
お帰りなさいませ、ひばり様。
The door opened from the inside, revealing a smiling Kasuga.
有村様がご一緒なのでは？
彼女はもう帰ったの。家の目の前まで来てくれたのよ。
I smiled for him. I'll be fine, just act naturally.
ひばり様。
Kasuga's voice carried a frosty note of warning. I seized up.
お付き合いされるご友人はどうぞ慎重にお選びください。申し上げるまでもございませんが。
Which friend are you talking about, Kasuga? I swallowed hard, forcing myself to smile at him as naturally as possible.
有村さんのこと？見た目は 苦手だけどすごくいい子なのよ。
Kasuga simply smiled in return, saying nothing. But the look in his eye broadcasted his thoughts loud and clear. He already knew everything. Don't tell me he knows where I went. No, he couldn't. My thoughts spun as he swept open the front door for me.
どうぞ早く中へ。手洗いうがいもお忘れなく。
うん。
I clumsily removed my shoes while trying to smother a heavy sigh. I'd always told everything to Kasuga, until today. I couldn't tell him about Kazu. Right now, I desperately need someone I can go to for advice. I went straight to my room and tucked my secret in the deepest crevasses of my heart. Yeah, Kasuga did look disappointed in us. Right. Unlock the next board. Next board and last board of the level 1 boards. Nayata. Rabbi has brought back a new video. Let's do the Rabbi video before we finish up today.
お役立ち機能とかねえのかよ。
どうしよう。お腹空きすぎて眠れない。冷蔵庫の中のものは明日の朝ごはんの分だって言われてるし、カップ麺も食べちゃったしな。ああ、お腹減った。
妙な声が聞こえると思ったらあなたでしたか。
春日さん、ごめんなさい。俺お腹空いて眠れなくなっちゃって。
How dog themed is Nayata's board gonna be? Yeah, who knows? Also, how many times is he going to ask to be stepped on? I think that's the I think that's the thing to ask.
まったく仕方ないですね。冷蔵庫の中に何か。
でも中のものは食べちゃダメだって言われてるんです。
ですがこの冷やご飯は残り物でしょう。これがあれば焼きおにぎりくらいは作れそうですね。
焼きおにぎり、俺大好きです。
お静かに。少し時間がかかりますよ。
See, Nick, now you've got me imagining things. Nayata in a cone of shame.
はい、ありがとうございます。
醤油、鰹節、味噌。調味料も大丈夫そうですね。
いろいろ使うんですね。
これはすみこさん直伝のレシピなので。
うわあ、楽しみだな。春日さんってお仕事だけじゃなくて料理までできるんですね。
できるというほどではありませんが、昔はよくひばり様のためにお作りしてましたので。
ひばりさんに？
ええ。幼い頃のひばり様は今以上に繊細でしたので、悩んだり落ち込んだりすると食事が喉を通らなくなることが多かったのです。そんなお姿を見ていられなくて、私はすみこさんに習ってこの焼きおにぎりを作りました。元気がないながらにも食べてくださった時は嬉しく思ったものですよ。
そっか。じゃあこれは ひばりさんと春日さんの思い出の味なんですね。
そうかもしれませんね。さあ、完成しました。今お茶を入れますから、ダイニングの方で待って。
うわー、美味しそう。いただきます。
He's not going to wait. That food is going directly down his throat.
香ばしくて熱々でなんだか優しい味がします。こんなに美味しかったらひばりさんの悩みも吹き飛んじゃいますね。
確かにこれを食べた時のひばり様はいつも笑顔でした。今のあなたと同じように。
本当に美味しい。
Went down the wrong way.
ああ、もう急いで食べるから喉に詰まらせるんですよ。今お茶をご用意しますから。
Nice of Kasuga to talk about my childhood without my permission. But Kasuga really looked out for me back then. He made those onigiri even though he was just a kid too. They were kind of misshapen, but they tasted lovely. As I waded through my fond memories, a curious thought suddenly popped into my head.
春日ってなんだかなゆたくんに甘くない？
Alright. And I'm gonna call it there, and we will start Nayuta's board next time. So, thank you very much for coming, it's been fun. If you're new here and you've enjoyed your time, please consider subscribing to the channel. You can also follow me on social media, which is linked in the description box. The streaming schedule for this channel is both over there on social media and over here on YouTube in the post tab of the channel. The next scheduled stream is Wednesday, 7 PM for a little handcam stream of the stuff I bought at Walt Disney World the other week. There's a lot less stuff than when I went to Japan. I had one less case, okay? So, hope to see you then, or another time. Once again, thank you very much for coming, and this is Kalla signing out. See ya! Bye bye!